Hello, Syntech, and welcome to another episode of Meet the Grower. Today, a special treat. V9Grows420, who I've recently connected up with through the One World, One Plant Grower Showcase. Brother, welcome to the show, man. Stoked to have you here.
Man, what up, what up, what up? It's your boy, it's your mother. Fucking wait for it. Boy, V9Grows420. Y'all already know what it is in the motherfucking house. How you guys doing?
Oh, we are great, man. And that is a hell of an intro, dude. So before we get into the actual discussion here, quick shout out, Mars Hydro, showing me the love. ILGM, been showing me the love as well. So just a special thanks to those guys. And if you like what I'm doing here, link down below, Patreon, you show me the love too. Otherwise, V9. Dude, stoked to have you here. Talk about growing and all sorts of wonderful stuff. And, well, we'll be talking about that One World, One Plant stuff too here in a little bit. First, I'd like to know a little bit about you, sir. You know, tell me how life brought you to where you are now, and you know, what really led you into this growing thing.
So, I was diagnosed with ADHD when I was 9. It's 1992 when this happened. So, you know, back then ADHD and ADD wasn't really all that knowledgeable. People didn't know a whole lot of information about it. So it was still a massive stigma behind children who were quote unquote diagnosed with ADHD.
Yep.
So I was on every type of ADHD pill you could think of back then. Ritalin, Concerta, Metadate, Clonidine, Adderall, all of it. And it led me to a state to where I was so dependent on it from the age of 9 all the way to 15. I went from taking it twice a day to 5 times a day.
That's too much.
And I was at 15. I was definitely addicted. I was definitely addicted to it. And I had to find vices to wean myself off of it. And my friends they would always try to give me cannabis, but one of the things that I never understood back then was the connection on why cannabis didn't medicate me the way I needed it to. Because me not understanding, I'm already on a Schedule 2, quote unquote drug.
Gotcha.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm like, there's no way in the world Schedule 1 ain't gonna give me what I need. You see what I'm saying? So I didn't understand the connection back then.
Yep.
Fast forward to about maybe 20 years later, I reintroduced myself to cannabis. By then, I'm no longer on these pills, so I'm finding other ways to get around the curb, so to speak. And you know, a former friend of mine, I was helping him move, and he had some cannabis. He was like, I had some Black Mamba. I said, I don't really smoke weed. He's like, you don't smoke weed? I'm like, nah. And he goes,
we're about to change that.
And he goes, let me ask you a question. I'm like, what's up? He goes, were you ever on any like pills when you were younger? I said, yeah, I was on. Then I paused. I'm like, that's it. That's the reason why it didn't medicate me. And so he passed it to me, of course. I took like 3 or 4 hits while I was sitting down. We were talking about 10 minutes later. I stood up. I'm like, woo, okay.
Yeah, I've been there.
I'm like, okay. So I started doing my research and understanding and learning. It just so happens in the state of Missouri where I am now, the law was actually being changed as far as medical use. Yep. So it happened almost simultaneously, me not quite knowing that this is about to happen, but I'm like, okay, still. So it journeyed me into learning how to grow. I say, you know what, I could benefit myself and anyone else a lot more if I grow it myself.
Oh, 100%.
Versus no disrespect, getting it from the so-called weed man or dispensary, it'd be much more better quality and it'd be better taken care of in my own garden. So I started watching videos from guys like Canucks and Cali Green and NP Wizard, NPK, and so many others. But what I didn't like about how they did things is not the fact that their content was bad, because their content's fantastic.
Yep.
But it's hard to get the answers that you need, and I do see Canucks kind of doing that a little differently now, and hats off to him. Showing the numbers on and the ratios on how he measured his newts. At first, he didn't do that, and it was hard to get the answers that you needed. So I took bits and pieces of the information from those content creators and wrote myself a growing one-on-one like manual.
Oh, nice.
And I followed it, and I got through my first 2 grows, and I was very proud because my second grow I got 12 ounces. My first grow I got 2 ounces. Third grow I got over a pound. So it just kept getting gradually better. And so that's how I kind of got into this. And once I got my license, it was all systems go.
Oh, right on, right on. And you echo a journey that many others have talked about on the channel here, where they had some sort of pharmaceutical dependency earlier on just due to illness or something related, and it was finally discovering how cannabis could benefit from them and then taking that
Right.
road into becoming a grower. So let's talk about that then, growing and whatnot. I'm gonna assume you're doing the organic thing because you're quoting Canucks there, but why don't you tell us a little bit about your grow space and what you have set up.
Well, I can't say I'm 100% organic. I cannot say that. I actually use an organic synthetic blend, hydroponics research, Veg plus Bloom. I use their newts, but
Okay, okay.
I also run a living soil made by a guy right here in Missouri.
Yep.
Special shout out to my man Anthony Browder with Garden of Eden Genetics. He has a living soil called Soil Thrive, and so far I have been using it. I'm on day 70, nothing but water, and it is fantastic,
Yeah,
fantastic.
man.
I'm like,
Uh,
wow. I've used living, so I've used Sohum. I've used another couple of local guys soils, and either you got real bad spider mites, real bad I ran into spider mite issues. I ran into fungus gnat issues. I ran into russet mite issues with their living soils. I'm like, but this guy right here, this new guy, I'm like, I'm running into no problem. It's just thrive. It's just going. So I'm definitely loving that. Definitely loving that.
Oh, that's cool, man. I mean, it's great to find a good mix and whatnot. I personally prescribe to the build a soil way of doing things and have based my system off.
Love builder soils
Oh,
3.0.
yeah.
Oh my God, yes.
Jeremy is the man. And unfortunately, up here in Canada, it's a little more difficult for us to get. But because he's so awesome about providing information and whatnot, I was able to procure the amendments, build my own
Right.
setup, and whoo-wee, man, it's awesome. Loving it.
Well,
Loving it.
I will say, my base soil is organic, so
Yeah.
I re-amend my soil. So I'll use worm castings, biochar, mycorrhiza, and some perlite, and I'll mix it up, and yeah, and I'll even every once in a while I also throw in like some fish shit and mix it in there too, just to, and give it some water, let it sit for about a week, and
Yep.
I'll give it as a base. So it'll last about maybe 30 days, just water, and then I'll
Okay.
start hitting it with news like on day like 27.
Interesting, interesting. I know a few different organic growers, and they always have great results. And to me, it speaks to the grower who's got the time into it, they got the experience, and really knows how to read a plant well. Because I think that's got to be the biggest challenge with that style of growing is understanding when you're doing too much or maybe too little.
Right.
So then,
Yeah.
to that point, I guess I'd like to ask about your routine. Is it the same set routine? I mean, you're just doing the same thing grow after grow, or are you an experimenter?
So I try to, well, like I said, I've experimented with some living soils,
Yep.
quite a few of them. Most of them have been failures. I'm gonna be honest. Most of them have definitely been failures. Only one has been a success, so a great success so far. Actually, that's not true. I had two different success stories. Bio 365's Bio Bloom
Yep.
mix was really, really good for some autos that I ran, some Amethyst Haze autos. They finished in 90 days, and it was. And I have a T-Check. I'm also partnered with T-Check, and I have a T-Check THC tester, and it tested the highest I've ever tested anything as far as flower goes. These were autos ran in Bio 365 living soil. So I do some experiments here and there. I've used advanced nutrients nudes, their bottle nudes, and now I'm using Veg plus Bloom. So I've used other like straight synthetic blends or synganic blends. So I've done some experiments here and there. Sometimes I'll go straight from seed. Most of the time I do from clone. But I've also ran different genetics from Captain Redbeard. He's one of my breeders. Of course, in-house genetics is the other one. So I do some experimenting as well. So I also bred my own strain, my V9's cookies.
Oh,
Yeah, that
nice.
took about a year. Took about a year and a half to get her right. Took her to
Yep.
F2, and she's beautiful. She's beautiful. I just harvested her about a month ago.
That's fantastic, man. That's fantastic. So then your growth space, talk to that. Describe what you have, kind of what you got going on, how it's evolved over time.
So I actually have about, oh my God, wow. Oh God, I start from the beginning. so,
Way
so
back.
I'll never forget that first $400 setup that I got. At 2x4 tent, that old Chinese Philizon quote unquote 600-watt blurple light that
Ah,
was only
yes.
120 watts for real. And that's when I got my 2 ounces off of, which I was surprised I got 2 ounces off of it. But it is what it is. So I mean,
Yeah.
it went from there all the way to now. I have 4 tents now.
Yep.
I have a because I have two patients. I have
Oh,
myself
okay.
and I also care for patients as well.
Nice.
So I have the main 5x5 that has my main grow has my Sonoform Ultra X 900 watt, which is an 880 watt light UV IR, and I also have a 4x4 that has the Alpha 6 in it, and a 3x3 that has the 450, and another a 3x4 that has all my veg plants. Yep. So
right here.
And my clone tent, it sits above my 3x3 that I run Rockwool cubes and do my cuttings and stuff from. So I kind of have I'm running a pretty good perpetual grow that's looking really, really good daily.
Sounds pretty tight, man. Sounds pretty tight. I love the 3x4 for the veg, personally, because the one that I have has that shelf on it.
Yes, mine does too.
Yeah.
Mine does too.
Such a difference. Such a difference. I mean, it's just great.
It saves you space, yo. It creates another little small space for small young plants. It definitely helps. It greatly helps. Greatly.
Yeah. So, tent designers, take note. We want more shelves in our stuff.
Yes. Hey, and also designers, take note. Mylar tents aren't always the best. Sometimes white wall tents will do good for quantum lighting.
Good point.
White wall tent.
White wall can be extremely reflective, so that's
extremely reflective.
Yeah,
I got a buddy who I helped build this grow room, and I said, dude, paint your walls white. He's like, what? I said, paint your walls white and your floor. He's like, are you serious? I'm like, seriously, do it. Lo and behold, he's killing it. He's like, oh my God. I'm like, yeah, because the light reflects.
Yeah. Well, great advice. Like when I was building my my grow room, my 5x11 space that's in my garage, I had been talking to some folks online, thinking about maybe just putting pan film on the walls or Mylar, and somebody just says paint, click, and yeah, works like a charm. And you can get paint that's got a higher refractivity, I think it is, index, or is it reflectivity?
Just do semi-gloss. I say use semi-gloss white paint. I'm telling you, that's all you need. That's all you need. Your plants will be happy. They will be very happy. Just keep some fans running.
You betcha. Oh, airflow always so important.
Oh man, yeah.
Tell me about your most memorable grow.
Oh man, when I hit that first pound.
Yeah.
Everybody told me. All the people who I knew grow told me the same thing. They're like, dude, when you're gonna be the most excited once you hit your first pound. Watch. And I'm like, really? I do. When you hit, you're like, oh, I got a pound, and I did. It was the original cookies cut from what I bred V9's cookies through.
Okay.
It was that plant of Banner's Dream, which is people think it's Bruce Banner and Blue Dream. It's actually Bruce Banner crossed with Strawberry Sour.
Okay.
Then they took Strawberry Sour and that called it Boss Banner. Then they took Boss Banner, crossed it with Blue Dream, and then you got Banner's Dream, and it's fantastic. It's an F2 fantastic from Strain Society. And then I had a Jack Hare, I had a Banner's Dream, Jack Hare, Girl Scout cookies, Northern Lights, and I had 2 Girl Scout cookies.
Yeah.
At that time, and I got a pound, my very first pound, and that was actually with that was actually under a 600 watt light. And I was very happy about that. That was my third grow, my very third grow.
It's just being able to take each grow and those learnings and put them into the next. And then, when you start turning out that product, the forearm thick, resinous dripping colas, oh, damn, does it feel good.
Especially the Northern Light.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Never grown.
She smells like dates. Every time I smell her, dates. That's all I think of. It's just dates. The whole time. It's like, yes.
All about that terpene profile. The JMO that I have actually from in-house, it's got just just gnarly, weird, garlicky funk terpene to it, man. Love it. Just absolutely.
I'm popping those super sherbs and those slurricanes in about 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. Well, hey,
Oh
let's
yeah,
get into talking about some of this one world, one plant stuff. So, of course, I
let's
had
do it.
the opportunity to be drawn. We recently had
Congratulations.
Brendan on the show. Yeah, man, it just absolutely ecstatic. Everything that In-House does for the community and whatnot, and just how well, I mean, good Brendan is to chat with and whatnot. If you haven't seen the episode, he was on the show a couple weeks ago, and just wealth of knowledge. But tell me how you guys came to hook up and work together.
So about man, this is a year and a half in. Right at the the year COVID happened.
Yep.
Like right when everybody got sent home. I that year during in October, I reached out to him.
Okay.
I had heard of in-house genetics because I heard of Slurricane, of course, and all
Yeah.
the other pop strains that they have, and so I reached out to him. Say, hey, I run a live stream. I run Missouri's first live stream grow series. I'm doing this every week. I do a live stream every Tuesday at 7. I would love to showcase some of your genetics because I've heard great things and I'm seeing great things. I heard back from him like a couple of weeks later, and we talked on and off. But of course, with COVID, that kind of killed a lot of business. So a lot of his communication was kind of like spotty. Fast forward about maybe like 6 months later, he reaches back out to me like, "Hey, I'm just following up with you. What's going on?" I'm like, "Yo, what's up? A lot has changed." And he's like, and this when he hit me with the line that I had no clue that I knew nothing about this. He's like, "Yeah, I've been watching." I'm like, "What?" So I did see in-house genetics up in my live stream when I was streaming on Facebook a couple of times and didn't think much of it. I just, what's up, in-house? How you doing? Just kept going, doing my thing. And I'm like, "Oh, you really are watching." Like, I didn't really think you were, but I mean, I didn't. It didn't matter to me either way. But I'm gonna keep teaching because I need to teach. But I was very flattered about it. Like, wow, you've been paying attention. So then he like offered me the opportunity to work with them directly as far as like getting some of their genetics to Missouri. And so I was actually the one that he picked to get his genetics to the Missouri, and a lot of spaces in Oklahoma and Illinois. So I'm working with him on that to get that out because because of my buzz and people who know me and people who are interested in the genetics. And I'm like, hey, I have access. So and once that came about, of course, then talks of the stuff that was happening in Michigan, with the caregivers. So he put a lot of work in socially through through social media with like creating awareness and that. So I definitely applaud him for that because that's huge.
Yep.
To get a one of the top seed companies in the world to get involved like socially with the movement that's helping home growers is phenomenal. Like there's no greater high in my opinion than to get one of these guys involved directly. And he got involved just because he wanted to.
Yep.
And so then he came to me one day, said, "Yo, what do you think about doing a grower showcase?"
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, kind of like a grow off. He's like, no, a grower showcase where we showcase home growers and show the importance of home growing and show that there's power there's power with the people, not with corporations. And I'm like, I love it. Let's do it. I'm like, say no more. I don't give a fuck what it entails. Just let's do it.
Yeah,
and
I am in for sure.
And here we are. A month of actually 3 weeks away.
Yeah, and it's exciting, man. I mean, I'm gonna be covering every week on my channel and whatnot, and hopefully we'll get a chance to do some more collaborations and stuff like this as we progress into the new year. It's an exciting opportunity, and the fact that this is just really the start of what In-House wants to do, to be part of it on the ground floor, man.
Absolutely,
it's an amazing thing. It's an amazing thing. So
I love that. I love that Yeti microphone you got and that pineapple in the back.
Oh, thanks, man.
I'm a fan. I'm a fan of blue. I got a blue snowball, so I'm very aware. I used to stream. I used to live stream on Twitch for 5 years. I did Call of Duty Zombies Easter eggs for 5 years.
Oh yeah, good times, man. Good times. I haven't done too much on Twitch myself, but I know there's definitely a few guys. Like, shout out to the from the Stash crew there, Pigeons and Rob and Mr. Grow. Good group of guys doing a bunch for the community there.
Yeah, I got a guy, Medicinal Mike, out of Cali. He's doing his thing on Twitch. Shout out to Medicinal Mike.
Yeah, Callie's an awesome guy. He was on the show not too long ago. One of the guys that I've followed for a long time, especially when I started getting more of the organics thing. And if you haven't seen Cali Green's channel,
love him.
Oh man, the dude is just awesome.
I learned a lot from that dude. I learned 100%. A lot from it. I mentioned him in the beginning of the stream. Like I learned so much from this guy. Him, Wizard and PK, Mr. Canucks. I mean, just the list. Oh, I got to give a special shout out to my man Z Pilot, VP Home Grows. Oh my God, this dude taught me. I learned how to do the one plant, massive plant grow from him. VP Home Grows, you are a freaking beast, dude. You got to check him out, dude. He's a freaking beast.
I have to definitely take a look, and you guys go take a look as well. So let's bring the chat back into the grow room here now. I want to talk a little bit about equipment. Give me an example of what you consider to be probably one of the most necessary pieces of equipment in your space.
That's a very easy answer. I think one of the most necessary pieces of equipment to have in any grow space is proper lighting.
Of course.
I mean, if you don't have proper lighting, I mean, you're talking quality, you're talking about terpene profile, you're talking about smell, you're talking about potency, talking about yield, can all go down just with one piece of equipment, yo. And that just shows you how important lighting is. The one piece of equipment can kill all of that, quite literally.
For sure.
So I think that's the single most important piece of equipment you should have is proper lighting.
Yeah, absolutely. But I don't think that, lighting in particular should be a deterrent from starting to grow, because when you're getting going, it's, you see that tent, you see these new bar style lights, they're $1,500 and super awesome. And it's just like, for a brand new grower, that might be just a little overkill. Go with what you can afford, what you can get to start and whatnot, because you can always upgrade down the road. And with the choice of what's available now for LEDs, I mean, I was looking at one earlier today. I can't remember the name of it, but it's just incredible what they're coming out with now, especially with the UV. I know you touched on that a little bit before, but since you've got the addition of UV lighting in your space, have you noticed better yields? What inherently UV is supposed to promote?
I will say I've noticed better quality.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, the trichome production is. Wow. That's all I'm gonna say, yo. It made it. You can tell the difference. Because I've grown V9's cookies so many times, and it wasn't until my friend came to my house and walked in and was like, "Dude, it looked like you just sprinkled brown sugar all over every freaking flower on your V9's cookies." And I'm like, "What?" And I looked again. I'm like, "I've never seen this before." Until I ran it under UV. Yeah. I mean, and even still, like you touched on something very important about the cost of lighting. That's why I picked to go with Sonofarm. Nothing against Mars Hydro.
Yep.
I chose Sonofarm because, number one, they're based out of America.
Yep.
Their lighting is almost identical to not only Spider Farmer, Mars Hydro, HOG, Gavita, you name it. They even have a light that outperforms Fluence and Gavita in its class 100%, and it's a fraction of the cost. That's the 880 watt light that I'm running in my 5x5 that has a display on it that shows you the PPFD, that shows you how many watts you're pulling, shows you how the timer built in, UV, red, all independently switched. And that light's $949 before you use my code V9Grows420 to get 10% off. Then you can get it for $855. That's under $1 a fucking watt for the most powerful commercial light on the market. You can't tell me. You can't. And they have the same 4-board light that Spider Farmer has for $399 versus $520. So I'm like, this is what I'm saying. This is before you use my code. So I'm saying, like, there's options. I give people options. This is what I've been doing the entire time. There's so many other options. You don't have to, just because it got a big name and a big marketing budget and you see it everywhere, doesn't mean it has the best price or the best quality or the bang for your buck. Look for what's called the diamond in the rough. That's what I did. I learned that from reading books by Robert Kiyosaki and Dale Carnegie. Find the diamond in the rough. And I found them out of Sonofarm. Sonofarm.com, V9Grows420. Get 10% off.
There you go, guys. Go check it out for sure. But what about equipment that may have let you down? Have you ever had a piece of gear fail you and cause major problems or even minor problems?
I will say the biggest piece of equipment that's let me down so far is HOG's lights.
Really?
For how heavily they're promoted, for all the in your face stuff that they hit you with. Nothing against the company.
Yep.
For what you charge for your lights and the watts that they pull from the wall, yo, just the wattage draw and how much you charge. Like your flagship light is only $650. It's like $1,100, yo. That's ridiculous. No disrespect, but you guys, it's fucking robbery. I'm sorry, yo. It's robbery, yo. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm not
you're
gonna pay
entitled to your
$1,100.
opinion,
I'm not gonna pay $1,100 for a 650 while that's ridiculous. I don't give a fuck who name on it. Excuse my language. I don't know if I can even say that, but that's just me being me.
Hey, by all means, YouTube tends to keep us locked behind the over 18 wall anyway, so it's not too big of a concern.
I can't see myself doing that, so why
Yeah.
would I promote it to somebody else? You see what I'm saying? That's why I just can't do it. I just can't. I'm from Missouri though. I'm a St. Louis born kid with Missouri money. Like I don't have Beverly Hills money, so I'm gonna promote my stuff to people who are just like me who can afford St. Louis and Missouri on a budget for people in Missouri and all over the country and all over the world. So
hey, lots of options, man. Choose what works for you and what's affordable.
Absolutely.
That's I think the best thing is there's so much competition in the lighting game that the manufacturers are just forced to bring the prices down to compete, and that's where we as consumers win. What about pests? You talked about pests before. I mean, the dreaded russet mite. Knock on wood, I've not had to fight those guys yet. But what are you doing for IPM? And have you lost plants because of it, or are you always coming out on top?
I have lost an entire harvest due to spider mite.
Ooh.
I personally haven't run into russet mite issues, but I have friends who have.
Okay.
And they always ask me, what the hell do I do to get rid of these fucking russet mites? I said, I'm gonna tell you the best thing you can do to number one, I would go outside and just burn your damn plants. I'm gonna be honest. But then I would also get some stuff called organicide.
Oh, okay.
It's a 3-in-1. It's a pesticide, fungicide, and like a miticide, all mixed in one, and it's organic. It has an Omri sticker right on that motherfucker. Nice. And you can get it at Home Depot. Organicide, mix it with water and get a sprayer and go to town. Even for spider mites, and you can spray the shit on harvest day. It's that organic, yo. Even it says on the bottle, harvest same day on the bottle, yo. I'm like, so don't quote me on it. I'm just hey, I'm just saying the bottle.
Hey, for sure. Yeah, well, up here it's different. We don't get as many choices in Canada as you guys have down in the States. Like spinosad isn't something that's available up here, so I'm left more to neem oil if I need to do a spray, but I'll generally try and just run beneficials. But it's always a challenge with pests, and
absolutely.
I mean, there's the two types of growers: those who've had pests and those who are waiting to get pests. So.
You ain't never laughed at, because I don't know one grower who's never gotten pests, and if you are, teach me. Tell me what you're doing to never get pests. I'm waiting for you to get pests. Yeah, basically. Yeah. I don't know one grower who's never gotten pests. Like, come on now.
Now, what about stigma? I mean, cannabis is definitely a plant that has its fair share. And, a lot of people talk about education as ways to overcome it. And I definitely prescribe to that belief. What are your thoughts on how we can make it more acceptable?
I think the best thing we can do is educate. I mean, there's so much miseducation out there about cannabis. Like one of the most common things that I hear, especially when I'm educating people who are 50 or older, on the stigmas, especially when because 50 or older have like either you use cannabis or you didn't. Either you were reefer madness or not. So it was literally one or the other. So when I do encounter people who do know I use cannabis, especially people who know me, they're like, so what made you start using it? And like, well, I tried cannabis. It made me paranoid. And I always ask them the same question. I mean, it is a unanimous answer. I ask them, do you know what strain you had? And they have no. I'm like, so number one, you have no clue what terpene profile you had just ingested. You have no clue how it's going to react to your body. You have no clue how it's going to react to your current ailments that you have. You don't know if it's going to counteract, or you don't know. It's like walking into a pharmacy and doing this and saying, give me that bottle. It doesn't make any sense. Like, you got to know what you're putting in your body, even if it's cannabis. Even if it's cannabis.
Well, we're unique creatures. We have unique, chemistry and whatnot, and so does cannabis. And it's a matter of finding the right plug to fit your cannabinoid receptor. And because there's so much misinformation out there, if somebody has a poor experience the first time, it just proliferates, and then they don't really get a chance. So you hit the nail on the head, and I think that really generally tends to be the consensus. Is we just got to talk more about it, bring it up to
Yeah, because
people,
people are too
educate
afraid
them.
to talk about it. People are
Yeah,
too afraid to talk about it. They're like they don't want to get hit with, yo, oh my god, you're a hippie, or you're a, oh my god, or the dirty, you're on the dirty, like kind of like Megan Kelly said in that fucking shit, the dirties and the jocks and the, what the hell. Anyway, that shit like that happens. Like, oh, come on now, don't. It's
I hear
laughable. I'm like, what the fuck is she talking about? But anyway, I'm like, whatever.
you. Enjoyment. What do you like? What's your preferred method? Dabs, joints, bongs, something different?
I am I am I am an all cannabis consumer overall. But if I had to choose, I'm a 50-50 dab flower guy.
Okay.
Like I love I can do dabs pretty much all damn day. I can just dab, and keep dabbing, and then do some more dabs, and then dab again, and then I dab. Oh, let's do another dab. I can do that. But flower will set my ass down
Yeah.
every time because and you have to think about it because you get to savor flower
Okay.
longer than you can savor a dab. So
Good point.
you're constantly savoring something. So it's gonna hit you like a ton of bricks, especially for some good shit that I grew. It's so yeah, flower always makes me stop. Dabs, I can just do a dab, wait about 5 minutes, do a dab, wait about 5 minutes, do a dab.
Might just be
Yeah,
time for another dab. So.
it might be. That's like I just see what I'm holding in my hand. You see that distillate pen right here? Like, yeah, cookies, baby. Mm-hmm.
Fantastic, man. Fire up on the go. Now, what about
Absolutely.
the best grow, the best product? Hey, tell me about what you feel has been your best work so far.
Oh my God. As far as cultivars, or as far as grow
Well, I guess
or
the best product that you've produced in your grow space.
now we're getting somewhere. Okay. As far as the best product, ooh, so far I'm gonna have to give that one to Captain Redbeard's Purple Punch.
Okay.
It has it's because it's a different because and if I can touch on that a little bit, if I may. So for those who don't know who Captain Redbeard is, he's in High Times as well. For those who don't know, my logo is also printed in High Times, the June edition, 2021. You
Nice.
can see it on
Nice.
page 77. Right at the bottom below Captain Redbeard, because he got the pleasure of being in High Times, so he asked me as one of his crows, hey, you want to go in High Times? I'm like, hell yeah. I ain't gonna say no. Like,
No
yeah,
doubt.
and boom, there it was. So he has great genetics, and a lot of his strains that have traditional names always have some sort of twist with it. Like Purple Punch, for example. We all know Purple Punch is Granddaddy Purple and Larry OG. Typically, his is Granddaddy Purple in San Fernando Valley OG.
Okay. Okay.
And oh my God,
That good, eh?
I literally smoked some of the shit before I turned his on. So I was like, it's wonderful, smooth. It tastes so good. It you open a jar like, whoa, like a ton of bricks. That's some fantastic. It's some fantastic flour. Like second to none in my opinion, as far as like how he crossed that up. That was a beautiful twist on that. Beautiful twist.
It's always nice to find those real winners and whatnot, the kind that you share with your buddies and it just knocks their socks off.
Yeah, he has a strain called Bubba's Mac and Cheese that's dope too. Bubba's Mac and Cheese is dope. Bubba Kush, Miracle Alien Cookies, Alien Cheese.
I've yet to try a Mac, so
I got some at home. If you were right next to me, I'd be like, bro, take that home.
no doubt, no doubt. Sounds like I'm
I don't
heading to Missouri. So,
it's good.
new grower came up to you and asked you for a piece of advice to help them get started. What would you say?
Oh, that's an easy one too. Don't rush.
Yeah,
Don't rush.
that's a good one.
That's the number one problem that we run to with the black market, quote unquote. You know, when we're getting our stuff, a lot of people trying to rush product now, rush. They don't, and a lot of times they'll use synthetic news like most people do, and they won't flush it, and it tastes like shit, and it's harsh as fuck, and you're like, what the fuck is this? And you gotta let it sit out for like 2 more weeks and let all that shit break down, and yeah, by that time you're done waiting. You're pretty much done. Don't rush. Don't rush, you guys. Take your time. Look at your plants. Let your plants tell you exactly what's wrong, and don't be afraid to ask questions. Do not be afraid to tune in to the V9 Grows. live stream every Tuesday at 7 on Instagram, and ask me questions live. I will answer your questions live. You got a deficiency happening, I'll answer it. You need to know about how to do soils and how to mix it right, I'll give you some advice on how to do a base soil. Low stress training, I got you. Topping, I got you. Like scrogging, I know that. Using cannabis, I understand that. How to monster crop, super crop, I got you. Ask questions, don't be afraid. There's no wrong answer. Like only dumb question is the question that you don't ask.
Oh,
That's
so true, so true. And I
that's
think
a dumb question.
the Canna community is probably about the best one that I've ever had an honor to be a part of, because everybody just wants to elevate and raise each other up and help each one of us grow the best possible. Dang, man, it's so awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So where do we find you online? I mean, you just touched on Instagram. Is that the best place?
Instagram is where I currently do my live stream now. Facebook doesn't really like me a whole lot. I have most of my followers are on Facebook, but I'm kind of drifting away from that because I don't stream over there anymore. Because right now I'm still in Facebook jail for about 10 more days because they don't like my content clearly because I don't know, something happened. I'm not really worried about that. But Instagram is probably the best place you can find me. I also have my own website where I do sell my merch, my shirts, dab rigs. Everything that I have on my website is always under retail, from the Rios, the dab rigs, the Rio rigging ones. I have those available, always under retail. Genetics, always under retail. I've got terpenes under retail, glow in the dark trays under retail. Like all my stuff is budget friendly because I started my stream out budget friendly, and I'm going to keep it that way.
Awesome.
I give people budget friendly options is the best bet, especially for the quality that you're getting and the name brands that are out there. And I know I can get them at a lower because I have a business, so I know I can pass the savings on to the consumer. I mean, that's the best thing for each other.
Yeah, and you say community just continues to elevate.
Absolutely,
I will put links down below if you guys do want to follow up there and take a look at his stuff online. Now, V9, awesome chatting with you today, man. Definitely a wealth of knowledge when it comes to growing. And dude, I just love your personality, man. You're just a joy to chat with.
I'm a people person, man. People are what fuel me more than anything, like, especially good people, like good energy.
Yeah, man.
I can talk all day about any subject. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be growing. It can be politics. It could be, but as long as it's clean. It could be faith. It can be relationships. It can be children. I got experience in all of it. So I'm like, let's talk. Like I just love lending a good ear and just giving good advice. And I'm just a direct, straight shooter too. I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything I tell you. I'm gonna tell you exactly how it needs to be told, not the way it should be, not the way you want it to be told.
Yeah, that's how it should be done, man.
Especially ask me for advice. You fully want me to give my opinion. So I'm gonna give it to you straight.
Yeah. Well, lay it on out. Well, dude, it's been just awesome, like I said, chatting with you today. I've got this one last question for you here, and that's what's the next big thing for cannabis? Where are we going with this wonderful plan?
We need descheduling. I think that we need to also educate on the differences between federal legalization and federal descheduling.
That's a good point.
The federal legal and actually there's me and Brandon actually had a live stream on V9Grows420 on Instagram where we discussed this thing, the differences. It was actually the subject of the topic of subject. It was what we were talking about. So we talked about the difference between federal descheduling and federal legalization, and why we really don't want federal legalization. We really want it descheduled and decriminalized completely across the board. With that, it puts the power back in our hands because it shouldn't have been on the controlled substance list in the first place. That's the whole idea. Take it off. Descheduling is essentially taking it off the controlled substance list. For those who don't know what that is, it'll take it off of the Schedule 1 controlled substance list. It will not be there. Off, gone. Because I don't even know why it's in the same category as heroin anyway. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, yeah. But is that what it is? Heroin is a Schedule 1?
Schedule 1.
That was cocaine. It doesn't matter. I mean, the point is
either one.
Incorrect.
It shouldn't be in there no way. I'm like, come on, dude.
Yeah, for sure.
But come on,
sure.
I think that we need to definitely. I think that's the next big thing is educating ourselves on the differences between descheduling and taking it off the controlled substance list versus federal legalization and decriminalization. Because we need to decriminalize it and get everybody out of jail who's got cannabis charges, number one, and then take it off the controlled substance list the next day.
Yeah.
The very next day.
Treat it like the medicine.
We're done then.
Yeah, bring the science and wonderful
Telling
stuff,
you, man.
man. Oh, dude, I hear you. Hear you 100%. Well, dude, stellar chat. Nice.
Man,
Go
my
check him
guy,
out
I
online.
appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, for
You're
sure,
a good
man.
brother.
We'll
You're
keep
doing good
talking.
work, man. I can't wait to see the great things you're gonna do in this one world one man, dude. I can't wait to see everybody's stuff.
Oh, it's
Like
gonna be fun.
it, dream come true, yo.
Coming together, man. One big happy
Coming
canna
together,
family.
man.
All
And
right.
yeah, it is.
All right. Well, appreciate you, brother. We'll chat soon.
I appreciate you, brother.
All right. We out.